Today on the channel, it's another edition of the Kyle Peterson Top 10 as we celebrate 44,000 subscribers on this very YouTube channel. And today, we're taking a look at the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another edition of the Kyle Peterson Top 10. A Thursday tradition here on the channel is we're usually counting down top 5s with an occasional top 10 on subscriber milestones, and that's where we're at today with a special top 10 with the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith. And of course, as usual in these top 10s, this is my list. Put your list in the comments down below. My list, 100% right. Your list, 100% right. We always get people that say, your number 1 is wrong, that should be number 5. Well, it's my number 1. Come on. But there's a lot of people that don't get that. So I always have to say that at the beginning here. But it is my list. Put your list down below. Put them in order. Start number 10. Work your way to number 1. Number 1, your favorite British Bulldog figure of all time. And my list encompasses the total career, going back to the tag team days, all the way to the end of his single run, I guess we'll say there. And the British Bulldog, I originally had him earmarked for a top 5. Then I started looking at it, feeling things out. It's like, there is way more than a top 10, and I really had a difficult time narrowing down a top 10 Davey Boy Smith lineup right here. He's had a lot of sleeper figures over the years, I'll say that for sure, and a lot of surprises. A lot of you guys and gals, don't forget the gals out there, that watch these countdown videos, a lot of times you can guess because these are based on figure quality, lightness, nostalgia is a big part of it as well, figure hunting stories, things like that that put in this top 10 list. There's definitely some surprises in this one that might shock a few people. Oh, super shocking, I'm sure. But a fun list to put together. When they're challenging, that's when they're the funnest, and that's what there were some challenges putting this list together here. And the British Bulldog had quite the career, even though it was ended early. Of course, you know, he did pass away. We remember all that. But he really had 2 different styles, or 3, you could say, of his years. He had, of course, the British Bulldog's years with the tag team with Dynamite Kid, his singles run until he basically went to WCW, and then you got kind of that WCW return to WWE run. So really 3 different story arcs of his career and good figures throughout each one of those. And now for me, I came in at the tail end. When I first started wrestling, the British Bulldogs had just recently broke up, watched a lot of back VHS tapes, things like that to find out about the British Bulldogs. But they were at the end of their run as in the WWF back in the day. So I know him a lot more as a solo career artist or whatever you want to call it there. But a lot of good times with the British Bulldog throughout the years, and we're going to count it down right here in this video. So without further ado, let's kick it off at number 10. All right, we begin the countdown, of course, at number 10. And number 10, we go with a little bit of a retro flair. We go all the way back to just a couple weeks ago to Hastel Toys, of course, the Grapplers and Gimmicks line. It is the retro British Bulldog, and I've always loved his Heart Foundation era, we'll call it. I'm a big fan of that, and to get that in a retro form, very, very fun. Now, maybe a little recency bias, that could be possible right here, but this figure is way better, and I said it in the review, than I expected it to be. I didn't expect it to be bad or anything, but I like this one a lot more than I thought I would. I think that's a better way of saying it. And we do know Grapplers and Gimmicks line, they got a lot of Bulldogs on the horizon, so it'd be interesting if that would affect this list at all if I did this over in 6 months or so. But for right now, I got the Grapplers and Gimmicks, of course, Hastel Toys, coming in at number 10. We've hit the number 9 spot in our British Bulldog countdown, and this one's going to shock the world. Well, I don't know about that, but coming in at number 9 for me is Davey Boy Smith, the British Bulldog LJN. Yes, a little bit of a surprise. Like I said earlier, I think a lot of people think this would be higher on my list. It is not, because I'm not super nostalgic for this, outside of it being an LJN, of course. I did not have the Bulldogs as a kid, so I didn't get to play with them. They weren't in the trenches feuding for the tag titles for me when I was a little kid. It was when I became an adult collector, I did pick these ones up here. But you got to respect the LJNs. You got to respect your ancestors. The forefathers of a lot of action figures we've received. And with the big rubber guys, stuff we're receiving right now, very similar. So a fun one, very historic, very nostalgic, but not as nostalgic as I thought it would be. British Bulldog LJN coming in at number 9. Continue the countdown at number 8. Number 8, we go retro once again, and another one that was way better than I anticipated. What are we talking about? We're talking about the British Bulldogs, of course, Davey Boy Smith. Epic Toys Retro Edition here. Now, this was a bit of a sleeper, a bit of a surprise, because we knew Epic Toys had taken over the former Cella, and we knew the quality and what we were getting from Cella left a lot to be desired for a lot of people. So you assumed, hey, Epic Toys is buying Cella, they're going to carry on that Cella mission. However, they just did a 180, turned the business around, and made better retro figures than Cella did, which really leads the case there. Why did they buy Cella when they could have just started their own thing and not spent the money on that? It's kind of like your local indie federation. What are you buying exactly? You're buying a little bit of name value maybe if you buy that, but at the end of the day, you're probably better off just starting your own business. That's the way to go. And that's what I would say about Epic Toys, but you gotta call it out like it is. Epic Toys blew Cella, or blows Cella, retro-style figures away, and I was pleasantly surprised with the Bulldogs right here. Of course, Warlord and Barbarian as well. Even better than this, I do think. So I had a lot of fun with this one. This was a nice welcome surprise. Epic Toys Bulldog coming in at number 8. Here we are at the number 7 selection. This one hits a little bit more at home here. Of course, this is the Bulldog figure I played with the most as a kid. Coming in at number 7, we got Davey Boy Smith, Hasbro style. Love me some Hasbros. I had a perfect childhood. I always say I got to play with the LJNs and the Hasbros. I was right in between the two, so that was pretty awesome for me as a kid being a player out there. And this Bulldog was a good one to have there, especially his Intercontinental title run, his Bret Hart matches, a lot of other stuff, and to have another powerhouse in the lineup was definitely fun, and I was very excited to have this one way back when. However, not as high on my Hasbro fandom as some of the other characters throughout the Hasbro stuff. Cool to get Davey Boy. It's just something about this one. Maybe I'm over the pose. We've seen it so many times. It does work for him, especially for the power slams and stuff. But I don't know. For whatever reason, not one of my favorite Hasbros. But as far as a Bulldog top 10, he's a hot one. He's coming in at number 7. We've hit the number 6 spot in our countdown, getting closer and closer to the top spot. In number 6, once again, is a recent release from Davey Boy Smith, a guy that's had a lot of figures here in 2024 with more even to come. But number 6, got the nostalgia feeling. We got the big rubber guys, Davey Boy Smith and Matilda for this one as well. You guys know my love for the big rubber guys. Really one of my favorite lines I'm collecting in this day and age. So nostalgic to the past, getting stuff we never got, getting new things. It's just a very, very fun line that reeks of nostalgia from the 80s when I was growing up. So I really like this one, and I like this one better than the LJN, if you can believe that. Obviously, constant learning, constant improvement. It should be better than the LJN, and it is. We do get the dog with it, which is a huge win. Wish we would have had that in the LJN days, even if I didn't have that LJN figure back then. But a very, very fun one here. Of course, there is a repaint for Wrestling Collector Shop in blue. 2 different options for the British Bulldog right there. But a lot of fun around this one here, and that's why it's number 6 in my top 10 list. We've hit the halfway point of the countdown. You got your list together. Put it in the comments down below. Put it in order. That's the hard part. That is the fun part. And of course, we're celebrating 44,000 subscribers. Next up, 45,000. Got to figure out that's got to be a special top 10 list. Make sure you subscribe if you have not already. But our number 5 selection right here comes from one of the most underrated wrestling figure lines of all time. Not a lot of people talk about it in this day and age, but they need to go back and look, as there's some sleeper figures a part of this line. It is the Toys R Us exclusive line. Jakks Classic Superstars, near and dear to my heart. Cheap Plug Kindle edition, available now over there on Amazon for my book, The Complete Guide to the Jakks Classic Superstars series. You can find out all about the deluxe classics in that book as well. And that's where we're at with the British Bulldog here, with the European title belt, representing a single career, short hair, just a sleeper Bulldog figure if there ever was one. And like I said, a lot of people forget about this line over the years, but really the forefathers to the Mattel Elite line in a lot of ways is the deluxe aggression style figures. A lot of fun, a good looking Bulldog. That's why it's coming in at number 5 in my top 10 list. The countdown carries on at number 4. And number 4, we got another British Bulldog figure. And this one came about around the time where I was saying, am I going to keep collecting or I'm going to get out? Now, I was an LJN Hasbro kid. Stopped making Hasbros. And the green cards didn't even exist in my area. I didn't even know they were around until the internet age. So I thought I was done. Of course, the Bendies were taking the spot of Hasbros in a lot of people's collection. I said, these Bendies just aren't for me. I'm not going to do it. And then one faithful day, hitting up Toys R Us, what did I come into? It was the Bone Crunchers. And the Bone Crunchers took over. Definitely came at a good time where a lot of collectors like myself were saying, do I want to carry on this tradition? Do I want to carry it on? And I would say at least the first 5, maybe a few more from the Bone Crunchers. Very iconic sets. We also got some tag teams, of course, managers, a lot of stuff. A very, very fun line for the time. One of those ones where you had to be there. And for me, the British Bulldog was a key one of this time. Now, is it the greatest Bulldog figure ever? No, it's number 4, but it does have enough charm to it. It was a great one for the time. Just a lot of fun around this Bulldog and just being excited for every new guy that was being announced. Oh my gosh, we got Bulldog in this set. We got Psycho Sid, the Godwins. Just a lot of fun around the time, and him and Owen Hart being tag champs around this time as well. Definitely had a lot of playability, a lot of fun. With old British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith Bone Cruncher coming in at number 4. Can't believe it, down to the final 3 in our Davey Boy Smith countdown here. And for the first time, last time, we'll see what happens here. Coming in at number 3 for me is a WWE Mattel Elite. It is one of the collector's editions. It was a Target exclusive at one time. Basically running back a prior Elite a little bit with a twist here. Of course, soft goods cape looking beautiful on this one. Love the extra singles gear. This is iconic singles gear, Davey Boy Smith. Packaging design, I'm an out-of-box collector, but I remember seeing that kind of bluish package. Just amazing looking on the Bulldog figure here. And we've got quite a few Elites of the Bulldog, some really good ones, and some ones that just missed the top 10. And like I said, this is a bit of a controversial list, as I think people say, why didn't you have this Elite in your top 10? I can't believe you didn't have this one. That's just the way it goes. This was a very hard list to do for me, but I knew this Bulldog had to be a part of there, and that's why he comes in at number 3. Here we are at number 2 on the British Bulldog countdown. And number 2, once again, we go to Mattel, we go to Elite, we go to Target, we go to Greatest Hits Series 1, British Bulldog Heart Foundation gear with the vest going there. And it's funny is time makes the heart grow fonder. I mean, I don't know if that's the saying, but that's how it is with this one. I liked it enough when it came out, but something about this one when I was going through all the Bulldogs kept pulling me. I was like, man, this figure is better than I remembered it. It gets better and better. Now, I could have went to the Legends version, which is pretty similar to this, but the updated joints really win me over on this one here. And I love the vest. I love the short hair Bulldog. Just a really cool time in the Heart Foundation and the British Bulldog is this one here in the Greatest Hits line. Could be the sleeper of the list, I would say. No, I'd take that back. The Deluxe Classic's the sleeper of the list, but this is a strong number 2 sleeper for this list here. And I don't know if everybody will have this at the top of the list, but I do at number 2, which means there can only be one, like a young Highlander. What is my favorite British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith figure of all time? That answer could surprise you. We've hit the top spot, the number 1 British Bulldog figure of all time. Once again, for the last time, put your list in the comments down below. Put them in order. That's the hard part. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel or my other YouTube channel. We got 2 channels with videos every single day. Appreciate the support over there. But here we are at the number 1 British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith figure of all time. And this one, I don't know if everybody has this at the top of their list, and I know not everybody has this figure in their collection yet. But when I was going through and looking at all of them, I said, you know what? This is the best one. This is really the best one. And once again, I said it earlier, we're getting a lot of British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith figures right now in 2024. This is another one we got this year. It is the WWE Walmart exclusive Superstars Davey Boy Smith. I was a little shocked at this one being number 1, but I couldn't deny my fact that I kept going back to this one as the top spot. Just very toyetic, very cool. It works in this line for whatever reason. A lot of these characters work in this line, but the Bulldog looks absolutely amazing. A big part of it is this big cape over here. Absolutely beautiful. Definitely does pop. Beautiful head sculpt, and of course you got those braids going on. Very iconic to the British Bulldog as well. Just a fun figure that, once again, I didn't know how much I really liked this until the dust settled and the newness kind of wore off. I kept going back to this one and looking at this one and seeing how much I like this figure. So maybe a little bit controversial. It shouldn't be, but maybe a little bit. It is a great one. It is the WWE Superstars Walmart exclusive British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith at number 1. Once again, put your list in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video. Once again, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Let's hit 45,000 and do another one of these. How about? Check out the Patreon for early access. Tons of bonus stuff over there. Appreciate the support. ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson once again. Pick up a t-shirt. Don't forget my book. I mentioned it earlier. The Complete Guide to the Jakks Class Superstars series. Available on Kindle now, as well as Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sir Paul 64 is where you're going to find me on the X. The _Kyle_Peterson on Threads. and on Instagram. So for the top 10 British Bulldog figures of all time, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.